You're not a misfit, outsider, or weird. Welcome to our table. Be yourself. Part 3. So you have the deeps, like what the tribe I call the deeps, who like to talk deeply and meaningfully. And the chats who like to keep things at a superficial surface level. Many chats don't know this, and some don't care. Many deeps feel very lonely around the chats. It leads to a loneliness. If a truly deep person, many of the truly deep people, if they're in that situation and they feel this pressure to not be themselves, to pretend to be somebody else, they can be surrounded by people and be very lonely and be so lonely because you're not being yourself. If you are deep and you laugh from way in here when you laugh, and the other just laughing from their teeth like that, and the expression in their voice is not from here but from here, and the conversation's here and not here, you could feel there are deeps who can feel very crushingly lonely around the people. And there's a world loneliness all over the world of the deeps, all over the world. And part of the mission of the honor movement is to help overcome that world loneliness, to create a place for the deeps to be who they are, and to create a place where the cha-deeps, who are really deeps, trapped and chatting, can come out and be themselves. That's what we're about, overcoming world loneliness through being ourselves, as long as the expression of our true self is in a respectfully real manner. Respectfully real manner. I want you to have that avenue. I want you to know you have that God-given right, and certainly in America, that your right as an American, to be yourself. Now, in some cases, I know people need to chat because they're making a living and they go deep. But I'm talking about deeps who get lonely around other chats. Many deeps feel that loneliness. And that's what makes them feel like an outsider, a misfit. And you're not an outsider misfit. You're an outsider misfit because that circumstance with the chats, with the deeps, you're an insider. And let me tell you, a deep who's very creative and thinks outside the box is going to be really seen as strange. Now, if you're rich, if you're very deep and creative and rich, people won't say you're weird. They'll say, well, he's a bit eccentric. But he's brilliant. Why? Because you're rich. You're rich, the word goes from weird to eccentric. I mean, that's how it works. Anybody have any comment or question you want to make about the loneliness of being a deep?
I have a quick comment, I guess you can say.
Who is this?
This is Jennifer.
Jennifer, okay.
Yes.
Glad you're here, Jennifer.
Yeah, so I feel that I have always needed that deep connection when having conversations with, casual relationships or close friends and family. And as I get older, I find myself still needing that connection, but also having my social battery run down quicker. Could I be maybe transitioning to a more of a chat? And is there an in-between stage?
A lot of people who can chat and go deep. And you have people who, if they get too boring, they just walk away, excuse themselves. There are people that can do that. But there are situations with family, friends, or religious organization, whatever, where it's hard to go from there. Let me ask you this. I know you, and I know how deep you are. You are a deep, and totally genuine. There's not a phony. I mean, you are you. And that's beautiful, totally beautiful. It's hard for me to imagine you really being comfortable being in a chat. It's hard for me to imagine that. There's always a first. But you are so deep, I can't imagine it. You tell me, is that really possible for somebody as genuine, as upfront, and as real as you really becoming a chat? Tell me, what are your thoughts?
I think that answered my own question.
I don't think you could do it.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
And why would you? Why would you even want to do that? It's hard. I mean, if you're not a chat, you could chat it up. If I have enough coffee, I can probably do some chatting for a while. But really, and by the way, depth isn't defined by content of the conversation. You could talk about sports in a really deep way. We have an honor with the honor athlete, and we talk about humble in victory, strength by defeat, and a whole thing about that. You can talk about any subject at a deep level. I don't care what it is. It's not defined by content. It's your passion, your depth, and how meaningful it is when you go into that.
I have a question for Jennifer.
Please.
It's Vanessa. Do you think that maybe you get kind of like drained or like discouraged maybe because you are deep and maybe we're not always around people that are as deep as us? I think Dr. Youth had mentioned something about dimming our light. Do you think that maybe it's that?
You know what, Vanessa? That's a great point. I didn't think about it from that perspective, but you're absolutely right. I think that there's only so much entertainment that can come from a deep if you don't have that, given in return. So that's an interesting thought. I didn't really come across until now, but I do believe that you're right. I think it may be more of a give, and not so much. I'm sorry, take, but not so much of a receive. Exactly.
I feel like you saying that, I feel like I'm an extremely deep person. I'm probably the deep. So when you said
you are the deep, Vanessa, absolutely.
Yeah, when you said that, I was like, man, there are days where I'm just like, I literally shut down. I don't want to be around anybody. I just don't have the energy because I'm just like, I can't do the like small talk or people just trying to like make you laugh. I guess that's where the loneliness part comes in.
Well,
so then I kind of shut down as well.
Well, let me interject some things. These are wonderful points. And Vanessa, I'm really glad to hear from you. I wondered if you were here. You're both extremely deep people. So you answered your question on that, Jennifer, that really you won't be able to become a chat. You have a chat deep who wants to become a deep, but I don't think there's a deep who wants to. I think, listen, I'll talk about myself. When I was younger, I wanted to chat because I wanted to fit in. I just couldn't do it. And I don't believe you can do it. I couldn't. I really tried. Couldn't do it. Now, so that's an important feature. Now, a chat deep can eventually become deep. Now, a committed chat, they're going to stay on the surface. They just want to do that. That's the end of the story. They might have been traumatized. They may not trust anybody, so they don't want anybody to know them. They can exploit them, use them, hurt them. So that person's set for life. Chat. Now, Vanessa, thank you for that, Jennifer. Is there anything else you want to ask or say, Jennifer, before I say something to Vanessa?
No, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Jennifer. Vanessa, so tell me about the loneliness you've had being such a deep, and you are a very powerful deep. Tell me about that loneliness.
I think that like I do have those people that I can go very deep with, and one of them being like my dad, or I have very few friends. But I think when I feel lonely is like when you really open up to somebody and you're like, I don't know, maybe in a situation where you're going through something and then you open up to somebody and they kind of just don't even know like what to say. Or
absolutely, a lot of people, a chat won't know what to say. Let me tell you what'll blow the mind of most people. Okay, they absolutely won't know what they're going to say. You're not going to like. If you were to say to somebody, I feel empty. Now, when you're saying that, typically when somebody says, I feel empty, they just want somebody to hang out with them in emptiness and just visit with them there. you say that to somebody, they're going to say these things to you. Oh, you can fill yourself up. You just got to go out and have some fun. They'll try to help you cover that emptiness immediately. And they will not acknowledge that they feel empty. They'll just say, oh, they'll give you advice how to overcome the emptiness. And it's going to scare them because the people are not comfortable with their own emptiness. So if you ever want to share emptiness, you need to say, hey, I feel really empty right now. I just need some companionship in this emptiness. Somebody just sit there with me and hang out. Could we do that? Believe me, it will scare them, where they're going to tell you how to fill the emptiness. Oh, you just got to make more friends. Oh, join a club. You got to pray more, which is always good, but you got to pray more. Right away, they don't want you to feel, it's like, you poor thing, you feel empty. You poor thing, you feel lonely. Oh, it's almost like, I've never been empty, I've never been lonely. I want to get you out of it as soon as I can. And if you don't tell them, I just need you to hang out with me, I'm okay. I mean, this is where I'm at, and I'm just want to sit here for a while. I just can't seem to move myself any out of it. So that gives you an example. Most people now are deep. If you say, I just need you to hang out with me in the emptiness, they can do it. Vanessa, what are your thoughts on what I just said?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have those type of people in my life where I can say that and they will just understand and, but...
Well, those are good relationships. If you could say to somebody, I'm lonely, I feel empty, and they can hang with you there, wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's a real treasure.
I do have a few of those in my life, and that's awesome.
Wow. You're lucky.
Sometimes it's just a little disappointing because at least in my situation, I don't know if anybody else, it kind of is, it sucks when it's somebody really close to you.
And they shut it, and they want to say, and they shut it down.
Other or a sister, it just makes it hard because you crave that from those people.
It's disappointing. It's painful. Nobody told people or showed them the way to deal with their own depth, their own feeling. And a lot of times parents want to just protect the children from these things. So they insulate them. And it's really best for children to be exposed to a certain degree of hardship. And so the parent can then help guide them in how to deal with what life has.
Thank you.
Typically, that doesn't happen. And so, they can't be there for you. It's not, and I can hear the pain, the loneliness, and that's where it is. And that person may really love you and care about you, and they can't do anything.
Yeah, I think that's why it's so important with my son, to teach him, to be deep, to be affectionate, to be loving. And I was like super blown away the other day. He's sitting in the back seat and he's just like, he's only 4, by the way. And he's just like, Mom, you look a little down. And I just want you to know that everything's going to be okay. And Jesus loves us and let's pray. And I was like crushed. I was like, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Look at that. 4 years old. See how it can, wow. Now, He had to see you be at that level. You can't even tell a child to be that way. He has to. You're the example. Your depths brought him there. Wow. Good job. You're a good mom. Great mom.
Thank you.
Wow. Good. Wow.
May I chime in about this conversation?
Oh,
this
Tracy.
is Tracy.
Yes, Tracy. Please.
I'm sorry. I kept getting interrupted on this end, on my end, but I think it was Jennifer who brought it up about maybe she was feeling like she was deep and maybe she felt like she was turning into a chat.
Yeah, just because she was shutting down and so she's drained out.
Right. I have felt that way too. And I think it's from lack of trust in whoever is talking to me. Maybe they are just trying to get information to use against me later. And it's almost like I get to a point where it's almost like I get to a point where I'm like sick of the mistrust, and it's like, can I share these things with this person? They may or may not have betrayed me in the past, or maybe it's someone that hasn't yet, but you don't know that level of trust in them.
This is a huge issue, trust. That's why people don't want to really go deep with people, because they don't want to be exploited. They don't want to be used against them. And I understand that. Now, for myself, I'll share it. I'll be deep. I'll really talk about my true feelings. And then if somebody wants to use it against me, try to hurt me with it, knock yourself out. I just watch them go, oh, okay. You can see the person is doing, oh, okay. You know, I mean, there's nothing I would share that I'm doing wrong, so I don't have any secrets about it. But if you want to use this against me, knock yourself out. I'd rather live that way and have people try that, and then live all, then feel I've got to hide myself. But that's me. That's me. Now, my wife is very private. She's very open with me, very extremely deep person. But she doesn't like it that I'm such an open book. So I had to learn how to not say so much things about her and the family, because she doesn't want that known. So I had to learn how to keep that here, because my wife doesn't want that known. But this is me. And yeah, you want to use it against me, knock yourself out. In fact, I'm amused by it. You just amuse me.
And also, I guess at times I felt like almost to a point like, oh, what's the point of me going deep? Like, I just don't care anymore. Or if something, let's say something in my life wasn't going well, I don't want to share. If someone says like, oh, how you doing? If I said bad, would you want to listen? But do I really want to spill my bad to you? I feel like just kind of chilling and not spilling my bad, and just want to take a chill pill, because why do I want to bring up and relive something that I really don't feel like talking about? So it's almost like I just kind of chat instead of be deep because of A, B, and C, going on.
Self-protection. You want to protect yourself. You feel vulnerable around that. I understand that. I totally understand that. And I think that for a lot of people, they do want to cover that. Now, and you have every right to be that way. For me personally, here's what I've noticed. I'm walking down the street. I take walks. I live on a hill. I walk up and down the street, and I run into neighbors. Now, you're having certain thoughts going on. It could be something you're going through, and that person's having thoughts of what they're going through. You see each other. You've got this whole thing going on. They've got it going on. So it's almost like you feel trapped into trying to find something to say to the person, because you're right there on the street together, but it's not really you, and he's not really him, because they're not doing that. Now, and I have neighbors like that. I just, in fact, when I see them, I really don't want to. I want to try to avoid them, because I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that voice, that face that I get into on that thing that's not really me. But I have one neighbor. His name is Matt. When I run into Matt, I go right to it. Well, I'll start talking about the thing I'm thinking about. I'll take him into it. And it's good to have some company on these thoughts and these struggles. But there's some people I know that I can't do that with them. And they just want to chat it up and laugh. Not a heart laugh, but just from here laughing. So I hear you. You don't want to open it to everybody. There might be some people, like for myself, anytime any of you want to, if you see me on the street and you want to go deep, please do. That's what I say. Welcome to my table. Welcome to our table. A place to be yourself. All of you, whether it's as in therapy or I run into you on the street, please be yourself. If you don't want to tell me what's happening, that's okay. But I want you to know, you see me in my office as a therapist, I'm the same guy outside the office I'm in there. Same guy. It's not like I put my professional hat on, now I'm a psychologist, now I take it off and I'm on Nerenberg. No, same guy. So that's my invitation to all of you. So I want you to know that. What are your thoughts, Tracy, about what I've said?
Yeah, I understand. I get it. I know you know when I have been.
Oh, I know. When you're there and you shut it down,
Mm-hmm.
I'm used to a good flow and a good connection. And I've told you, it's a little painful sometimes, but I do understand. I do.
Yeah,
understand.
and even if it's not that I don't trust you. It's not like I'm trying to protect even myself, even from you. It's more like I'm just not in the mood. I don't feel like expressing myself. And I just want to be reserved,
That's your right. Totally your right. And at the same time, I know you know that you could open up if you wanted to, or if you're in the mood to. So yeah, we understand each other.
Yes, thank you very much.
No, thank you.
And I'm really glad Jennifer shared what she did, because I do understand.
Well, you identify with it. And here's the thing. This is what I'm saying. I'm helping you, but believe me, you're all helping each other tremendously by the things you've said. You've helped people that can impact one another for the rest of your lives, the things that you're hearing. Absolutely. And that's the intention of this. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
You're most welcome, and thank you. It's been my pleasure and my privilege to be here with you. Thank you sincerely very much.
Thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Nerenberg.
Thank you, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. Good night.
Thank you. Have a good night. Good night. You too. Thank you, doctor.
Thank you. You're welcome.